up with Jacob.
Pop up with Jacob. What's cracking, y'all? How are we doing? What a day. And I'm speaking solely just because of what Conte said. We'll talk about it. Oh my. What a weekend. I hope we're all doing all right. Hope we're all over it. Hope we're all feeling good and gravy. I got a few reasons why I'm feeling good and gravy today and tonight and tomorrow, because we got Champions League tomorrow. Less than how many hours? We got 15 hours, 16 hours, something like that. Anywho, I am thrilled that you're here. I'm thrilled that you popped up with Jacob tonight. I am thrilled to be here first and foremost. Got some people I want to shout out first and foremost off the top. What up, Twitch? What up, YouTube? This ain't gonna be on Spotify, but I'm gonna say what's up, Spotify. Anyway, you can follow us there on Spotify. We out there. We only put the episodes up on there. We don't put the live streams, so you got to come on down to YouTube or Twitch and get your taste and your dose over there. Speaking of people who frequently get their dose and their taste on this channel, I want to shout them out. The patrons of this member in the Soggy Undies Club, we have Alan Sibley, and our newest Patreon member, Reyes Jr. He's a part of that Soggy Undies Club, as well as Alan Sibley. So big shout out to them too. Cannot thank you enough for being a part of this channel, helping this channel grow. So I want to shout y'all out, as well as the 10-inch club. We have Faraz, Goguma, Queen Ellie with Tottenham Till I Die, and C. Shearman. Those are all members of the 10-inch club. Later on, I'll post a link of the Patreon. For those of you who don't know or aren't a member, if you want to be one, you can. We got you. There's a link there down at the bottom, but I'll make it easier for you. I'll put it in the chat a little bit later on, but big up yourself for those in the 10-inch club and our official supporters. Jayco. We got David. He was the second newest member. Big up, David. Big up, Jayco. Bobby K and C Cubed in the Lover's Lane as well. That is our newest option. The option Patreon didn't want us to choose, but we did anyway. So big up that. And there's a name I specifically left off because he's here with us tonight, live and direct, in person. Couldn't think of a better cat to have on this with me, late night, staying up, wherever you at. Big up yourself, Scott M., another patron member, as well as popping up with Jacob. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Glad that now I can actually support the show, that you transferred to a non-Canadian hating platform and Patreon to let us actually try to give you some money. So that's good to see.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Anchor was a bastard. Anchor was really a bastard. They didn't want to accept coin from anyone else other than Americans, and being that this is a global podcast, a global channel, I didn't want to limit us that way, so Patreon it is.
That's right. Yeah, I'm doing well. I always love, like I said, popping up on these shows. Works for me. It's great to kind of have that. I call it late night, right? It's probably like early morning for the UK folks, but for us, it's kind of later night. Nice time to chat about everything that's gone on. We can digest all the news that we have, and for me, hopefully not get too worked up. Just get to be nice and calm and share some views on Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There's not too much to talk about. I mean, I feel like every channel and their mother has covered the Arsenal match. We all know what happened. I don't want to sit here and beat a dead horse because honestly, the vibes ain't right, man. The vibes ain't right when it comes to that match. It was a stinker. It was a pooper, whatever you want to call it. I didn't enjoy it, not one bit. So I don't really want to talk about it. If y'all want to talk about it, we can do that. I have some other thoughts in mind because I personally, I'm looking forward, Scott. I don't know about you. Where are you at? I'm looking forward.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's what's nice about having Champions League. I mean, Europa League and European Conference League too is you get it, but especially with Champions League because those games you really look forward to, right? And I was going to say the same thing, kind of like it's kind of a crap mood right now after the game on the weekend. There's no way around it. Not talking about it doesn't mean we're dodging it. Like you said, you've probably talked about it a ton. I've said my piece on it. So what is nice though is we have that game tomorrow and we can kind of I mean, it might end up being just adding more to the pile, but hopefully it's going to be something that kind of changes the mood, move on. Let's get a result. Let's get going. So I'm with you. Let's look forward. Let's look at that game. Let's talk about what we need to do for the rest of the season so that games like we just saw on the weekend are a rarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we're not seeing those issues all the time.
Well, C Cubes, I see, just commented. I sent it to you, my friend. Apologies. I guess I sent you the YouTube link. I think I did that to everyone. I went and messaged on the WhatsApp that we are popping up tonight. But I sent you the link there, buddy. Big shout out here to THFC Till I Die, Dermot, Ellie, the crew out there. Big shout outs to y'all. If you're up, man, you want to come on the channel, you want to come on the show tonight, let me know. Send you the link. This is an open discussion type of show. So you are welcome to join, my friend. Says, let's be honest here. We have the best manager in years. Let him get on with his job. He will take us to the promised land. Big up, guys. Love the show. Big up yourself, my friend.
Yeah, Dermot's a great guy.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you're saying here as well, my friend. Let him get on with it. He knows what he's doing. He said just as much. We'll get into it. I don't want to say too much. I mean, we're not even 10 minutes into this bad boy, but Philly in the house. What's up, Philly? Philly says, def a bullshit red card, but kind of glad we don't have to see Royale for 3 games. Is it 3 games? It is 3 games. Straight red. 3 Premier League games. That means he is eligible for Champions League. You know who else is eligible for Champions League? We've got another guest. With Batman. No.
Hey, everybody.
No. Hey, what's cracking? I love this new thing, this dancing thing. It is great to watch.
How are you? It's been a while since
YouTube doesn't leave the computer too long because then it goes away, right? Isn't that the problem?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you turn away or something.
It doesn't. It usually is fine, but so far when I've been on streams with you, it hasn't really worked out as well. But let me see. I'll come back.
Yeah, no worries. We all know who you are. We know. I just personally like the little thing. It kind of dances and waves at you while you're talking, so that's always fun. Yeah, Philly. 3 games it is. Jayco, yes sir. We got another Patreon member, official sponsor, Jayco. Scott M filling in for Mike. How are you both? Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I don't know. I don't think luckily I'm not filling in for Mike because I know when he's here, he runs a tight ship and he's very professional. And I love watching Mike when he hosts it, but I am no way anyway near prepared to host in the way that he does. I'm just here to cause trouble. So
I'm definitely not in any capacity at any moment.
Jayco,
yeah, big up Jayco. I'm doing well. Moved on. If you would have talked to me on Saturday or Sunday, might have been a different story. C-Cubed, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm well, I was saying good, but actually I've been going through the 5 stages of grief since the game, to be totally honest. So, it's better today now that I have had a few days, but it's been kind of a rough couple of days, and I've been hiding under a rock a little bit, I haven't been consuming as much Spurs content the last couple of days just to get away from it because I was genuinely broken by that game. So.
Yeah, no, it was gut punch. I know for you it was 4:30 in the morning. For me it was 5:30 in the morning. It's quite a disruptive time to be waking up, especially to that showing. I was laid out my Basuma kit. I was ready for a big day. Did not have it, unfortunately. We also got another patron member, C. Sherman. Big up.
I was saying that it's actually, so it's not the first time I've been up at 4 a.m. for a game this season. But the thing for me was that I had a bunch of things that I had to do in the morning. So I was planning on sleeping early and then waking up at 4 or whatever for the game and then doing my stuff in the morning. But then I couldn't sleep because of whatever reason. Maybe I was too excited. I don't know. But anyways, I couldn't sleep. So then I ended up just staying up all throughout and then watching the game, and it was horrendous. And then having to go and do the things that I needed to do in the morning as well. So I basically was probably going through the 5 stages of grief in part because of the game, and in part because I was just so sleep deprived, which made me just so much more angry at the game.
I understand that completely, because for me, I woke up, watched most of it in bed, and then towards the end, my son was waking up, so then I kind of got us out there and started on breakfast. And luckily, I try to not, put too much of that negative energy his way, so he kind of helps me move on quickly most of the time. Sometimes, like Saturday, it takes a little bit longer. It takes a little bit more hugs from my son, but you know what? There's something to be said. I think it's our first loss in the league, and we really poor showing, and we are always poor at the empty crates, but very disappointed. Now I'm starting to think about it. I'm actually starting to get pulled back into my upset feelings, but again, this pop up is not about Arsenal loss, because if we think about it too much, like I'm doing at this present moment, I'm going to start getting upset. So what I mostly want to talk about before we really just start talking about Frankfurt, etc., is a lot of the things that Conte said. Real quick, Jake Coe says, I have a short-term memory too, but I am worried Conte will go with a 3-4-3 going forward. I hope not. We know Kulusevski's out. I don't think that the 3-4-3 benefits Sonny, not one bit. I think he definitely appreciates just staying forward and not having to track back as much. So I really hope we see something different. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Scott, I want to ask you, were you surprised or disappointed at all when you saw the lineup and kind of knowing what the formation was going to be?
Surprised? No, not at all. I think Conte has shown that he's going to stick to his plans. Oh, just 1 sec. And I think that we know that he really prefers that 3-4-3 here in at least the Premier League, right? He played it at Chelsea a lot. He's played it here so far, and I think that that's what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. Disappointed, certainly not as much as other people. And the only reason I say that is because I've said it before, I don't think there's a formation that is perfect for us. I think it's worth trying the 3-5-2. Trying to put the 3 guys in the midfield, because we're seeing the 3-4-3 is struggling. So why not try a different style? Personally, I think we don't have the midfield to do it. I think a Bissouma, Bentancur, Højbjerg midfield, that's a lot of same on same on same. There's not a single player out of those 3 that has shown an ability to really control the game like we need. I know Bissouma can at times, but I don't really think that's what his specialty is, right? I don't think he's the kind of player like Conte has used in the past, the Pirlos, the Brozovic, the Fabregas kind of player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while I think that a 3-5-3, we might as well try it, I think that there's some issues with it with us. I don't think that's the magic bullet. In that formation, I also worry about how we create goals, because it seems like that's just, we're going back to Kane and Son and everything, because outside of them, I'm not sure where we're going to find that. Now, maybe if Kulusevski's healthy, and you're saying that we're putting him as one of the 3 in the midfield, so you still keep that kind of creative aspect there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like him. For me, it'd be Kulusevski, Bentancur, and Bissouma. Sure, I would look at that. But I just think with trying another formation, I don't see a formation that I'm like, yes, that's going to work. I just see another formation is just, well, let's hope it works. Maybe it could work. And for me, like, that's why I don't get too worked up about it, about the formation aspect, because I don't think there's a magic bullet. I think the main problem is we don't have the players to play any formation.
Okay. Cubes, how do you feel? Are you kind of like Scott? You don't really care about the formation? Or were you a little bit like me, a little disappointed you didn't see Bissouma or any indication of some kind of change?
Yeah, so I was disappointed, but I wasn't disappointed because I already expect him to do a 3-4-3. For the Arsenal game. He is someone that is a creature of habit. Once he sticks to something, he just continues to stick to it unless he has a loss. Like if we lose a game or something's really not working, then he'll make a tweak to it. So I knew he was going to do a 3-4-3 for the last game. But what I wanted to see is, a 3-5-2 is what I would have wanted to see with Son and Kane up top, Basuma in the midfield. That's what I would have wanted to see, just like we had at Leicester, because we did see some success there and just try it out from the start. But I was pretty confident that wasn't going to happen, and lo and behold, it didn't happen. I saw afterwards, like the news came out after the press conference, that it looks like there was some sort of muscle fatigue, some not really quite injury, but something with Basuma, which was preventing Conte from feeling confident about putting him in there as and therefore not having a midfield three. I don't know how much of that is like true. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't know how much of that is also possibly PR, because he did come under a lot of fire for not doing a 3 midfield. And it's like the question kept on being like, why don't you put Basuma in there, right? So it's just interesting that it came out after the game that was, said. But I think for Frankfurt, I think he'll probably do a 3-4-3, but I think that there is a bigger chance that he'll be a 2 up top than he was on in the Arsenal game, because he has personnel constraints, and he might be considering those personnel constraints as long as Basuma's fit, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, we're also still hoping that Oliver Skipp is fit. So what seemed like in the beginning of the season a strong problem to have is now slowly becoming kind of an issue. Big up Goguma in the house. Says hi, Jacob. Hi, Goguma. Hope you're doing well. Probably about time for your lunch break, right? I think that's about right. See, Sherman's calling it PR. Says the Basuma thing was PR. Maybe just some mop-up work. Who knows? Philly says, to be fair, if it wasn't for Hugo and Royale, probably would have drew. Maybe even won. Shruggy shoulder emoji. It's fair to debate that. I think I hate trying to plug it on like one or two dudes as to why we didn't do anything. Like, where was Kane? Where was RIcharlison's passing? Where was Son's forward attack? Like, it just seemed like we were sitting back. I mean, I think it was 8 of their players spent majority of the entire match in our half. So that's just unacceptable. The only time they should be hanging out in our half is if we've already slid tackle, hurt them, and they're laying on the floor. So that's a little woeful. I think the whole team suffered. Royale especially did not help anything in that regard. And Hugo, that second goal was tough, man. It's tough to defend. I'm in the goalkeepers union, so I try to defend him. But that is a tough one to defend, because I guess I just chalk it up. Maybe mistakes happen, Mistakes happen.
And honestly, I don't like to call out too many individual performances of players that we know have delivered for us and been really great. But I do think that Kuti had was a part of that, mistake as well. He took a part of that mistake as well. And he definitely did not have a good game and has been struggling ever since his injury this season.
I agree. He seems, maybe we rushed him back. Maybe he's not fully confident, but there's something going on. He didn't help out too much either. I think they only saw one good thing out of Romero, which usually in a game of this magnitude, you expect that guy to step up. He has in the past. So,
yeah, I don't think it was really his fault, like that on the goal, the Lloris mistake. Like, it came off him pretty fast. But what was concerning for me, specifically on that goal, is he didn't look confident. Like, he looked, normally when he's on last year, he looked confident. When he was on the ball, he was decisive. He knew what he was doing. And even though I don't think he really could have done much on that play, he still looked more confused than and kind of out of it than I had normally seen him. And as you guys both mentioned, he's looked that way all season. Like, I kind of want to blame it on the injury, but what I'm seeing isn't just physical. It seems like maybe it is. Maybe he's just not confident because he doesn't feel physically up to it. But he doesn't look as confident as he was. He doesn't look as decisive. He's defensively, like, there's way more times I've seen him just get beat badly and look clueless than he ever did last year. So
Yeah.
Well, when you come back from an injury, there's usually, not always, right, but there's oftentimes there's there is a confidence thing, right? Like even if you're physically okay, you might still be in a little bit of pain, or you just haven't been playing for a little bit and you just kind of don't trust your body as much. So what your point in regards to the confidence thing, I feel like the confidence thing could be in relation to the injury. It doesn't have to all be like physical. It can be like a mentality thing in regards to the injury. And then, I mean, this has been brought up before. I'm not saying that this is what it is, but there have been people saying that like is he kind of holding back because of the World Cup in Argentina and him playing such a big part in that, because he does keep going to usually when he plays for Argentina, he goes on break or whatever, he comes back, he's injured. You know, he plays very hard for country. And so there is some sort of, you know, narrative that I don't necessarily think is true. I don't know, but it is being introduced as a potential narrative. Is he holding back, even if he might not be consciously doing it, is he subconsciously holding back a little because he's afraid to get injured, knowing that he has that that Argentina sort of World Cup coming up, and him not being the only one. Maybe others are kind of holding back in their own ways as well.
I don't know if I would say that Romero's holding back in any way because of a World Cup looming. I definitely, he's not that kind of guy. I don't think he's that kind of guy. I'm not gonna say like I know him completely, but he's a dog. I actually see Sherman just said the same thing. Kuti ain't holding back anything. He's a dog. I was just gonna say the same thing. That dude, he's ball to the wall. Now I could see it being a mental factor of hesitation because you got something that's maybe not 100%, but you're kind of trying to act like it is because you're a big tough guy. So maybe I think there's a little bit of that. Coming back from injury, naturally your confidence is going to waver, and you're going to try and compensate on the opposite side depending, you know, where the injury is. So I hope it's not that.
I was pretty dismissive when I first like heard that theory as well, in regards to like if he's holding back due to the World Cup. And I don't necessarily think it's true, like I said, but I'm just like putting it out there as like all these different things that are being like potential, like whatever.
So you're
like,
stirring the pot.
I'm just stirring the pot, exactly.
You're adding some ingredients and then you're stirring it up. I like it. Hey, I mean, what makes a good stew?
Really big spoon held by C Cubed.
Hocus Pocus. Make me think of Hocus Pocus. Big up Goguma. It's interesting, you know. Again, I'm not trying to say like I know this man personally on a personal level. I'm just saying from what I can gather, he seems like a genuine dude, a nice dude, and also a motherfucker. So I don't see him holding back. I see him being like, there's a man in front of me, I'm gonna go eat, and that's just kind of the mentality that he's displayed. So I hope that I'm right. I hope. Who knows?
Which mother is he fucking?
I think you're right. I think some of the Argentina stuff, he kind of got lumped in with Lo Celso, because when he came, Lo Celso was kind of the guy who we saw play like so well for Argentina, right? And then came back for us and wasn't near that level. And he kind of went with them, and then they got into trouble in Brazil, and they kind of got delayed coming back, and they missed the games going to Argentina and all that stuff. And I think that he kind of got lumped in there, and then people were like, oh, does he love Argentina more than Spurs? So, well, I think it would be more of like what C-Cube said, a subconscious thing. Not like, you know what I mean? Like he knows the World Cup's there, so he's doing it subconsciously. I don't think there's anything of him holding back that way. Kind of like what we talked about with the injury. It might just be something that he's not even, or maybe it's just something extra on his mind that he doesn't realize. But I don't think he's saying like, I'm not going to go into this tackle hard because I don't want to injure myself for the World Cup. I think like Sherman says there, he's not that kind of player. I think we've seen it a lot that he's not that kind of player. So, but you know, something subconsciously, who knows? We would never be able to see it. I just think it's a combination of things. Like he was great last year. Like he was really great. And there was every reason to think that there might have been a slight drop off. And then you throw in, like you said, the injury. You throw in some other stuff, and it kind of makes it stand out. And then, as I'll always say about him, the other thing that hurts Romero is when he isn't looking great, it stands out because there's not a single guy on that back line that's backing him up, and helping him out in any way.
Yeah, it looks bad whenever he's not.
Eric Dyer isn't cleaning up that mess. He's coming in to throw gasoline on that fire. So.
No, you're absolutely right. Real quick, I want to say while we got 10, 11 people watching, make sure you hit that like button. We got 8 likes. We can get 10 likes. We got 2 of y'all out there. You peeping, but you ain't clicking the like. That's cool. You don't have to, but I encourage you to. We also got 10 votes. So if we got 10 votes on the damn poll, we can get 10 votes and 10 likes. Scott, so go ahead and like that video, Scott. I know it was you, Scott.
Yeah, I was the first one to vote in the poll. So, because when I voted, I was 100% my selections. There you go.
There's 10 votes.
I voted in the poll, Jacob. Can you
let's see.
guess what I voted again?
All right, let's see. I'll read it out real quick. We got 10 votes. All right. Thoughts on Conte's thoughts. And let's see here. In first place, we got he's 100% right, even about Emerson. That's 4 people have said that. 2 people said agree with Doughboy, but I want Spence. Second place, 3 people said he's really mean but truthful, and I think that Scott is one of those. We got 11 votes now. Someone just voted, and we reached 10 likes. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are so beautiful. I asketh and I receiveth, and that's what's so beautiful about this little thing we're doing here tonight. And it looks like maybe one person voted that he's wrong to be so Conte. So I'm gonna say Goguma, did you vote? Goguma would probably say he's 100% right. And so that leads me to say that, Cubes, you would say he's really mean but truthful. Is that what you voted?
Yeah, you got it. How did you get that? You literally, these polls, you got my vote right except for one. Only one time you've gotten it wrong.
Yeah, and that was on Friday, I think. It was very recent.
It was Friday, yeah.
Goguma, am I right about your vote? Curious. You don't have to tell me. Voting can be a private thing. Before I get on to the next topic, which is kind of the main topic of this evening, C. Shearman from the 10-inch club says, the, quote, narrative around Argentinian players is that they care for their country more than their club. That's the, quote, big spoon, but that really doesn't mean anything. Look at Messi, Lautaro, Dybala, etc. Dybala had a howler of a goal, a screamer for Roma while Jose was out. But, Messi's a baller. Lautaro, he puts it all out there for Inter. I think we as Spurs, our Spurs players have always, like, mainly speaking about Lo Celso, it was just like, wow, he's such a great player. You know, that's what we could have, and he just hasn't come good for us yet. And so it just, like, kind of naturally built us to, like... And then I think the fact that he was always injured, and then, Lamela would get injured. So just kind of like, damn, these dainty-ass Argentinians. But I don't see the narrative. I don't think Kuti falls into that. Whatever this narrative may be. But...
Of Messi... did you see Pep's comments about Messi versus Haaland? I was like, I loved it just because I mean, Haaland is a beast, right? And I don't know, collectively we need to figure out what the F are we gonna do about him, like as a collective league, because you got to find a way to stop him. But outside of that, even like, so Pep was asked to compare Messi and Haaland, and he said the difference is that Messi is like, he can make a goal happen like on his own. Like he could just do it by himself. And he was like, Haaland is getting like service. And I was like, exactly. So my point is that even though, yes, Haaland is a beast and he is great and amazing at what he does, he's also getting KDB feeding balls into him. You know what I mean? So it's not really like the same. And people are like putting him up on a certain level. And I'm like, he's not like a Messi.
But I feel like Messi has had teammates in his career at Fartalonia that have helped elevate him and teach him things along the way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Erling Haaland having that same thing because the kid's 22 years old. He's a fucking robot. He's unstoppable at this point. He's going to shatter pretty much every record if he continues what he's doing. It's actually annoying and very upsetting because I joked with Michael during the Harry Kane during the summer saga when his brother was being the greatest agent in the world. I joked with him. I said, bro, we should, because I'd heard, Haaland, whenever he goes to the Prem, it's only for City. That's the only place he's going to play. I heard that. And then I heard, Kane wants to go to City. So I was like, man, fuck it. Let him buy 150 for Kane. Let's go buy Haaland. And it's funny because Michael kind of laughed at me when I said that. He was like, yeah, but he's not proven. We don't know, how he's going to translate. I was just like, I don't know. People compared him and Mbappe like the next youngster, the next big superstar. When I watched both of them individually, there just seemed like something. There was a chest, a treasure chest that Haaland had yet to open, and I believe we're starting to see that thing open up right now. And it's scary. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, he's really young, so he has a lot more to do. But I'm saying. But there is definitely.
He's also not the same player. He's not a small, little, quick, nimble dribbler.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's different. Just a madman robot dude, Terminator.
Yeah. So my point is that when asked the question to Pep about comparing him with Messi, it doesn't even make sense. Like they're very different players, and I mean, Haaland is like an out and out striker. He is the very just when you think of striker, that's like what you think of, like an ideal striker, right? Messi is not like that. Messi has all these dribbling skills and exactly what Pep says. Like he just makes a goal by himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is completely different players. I think it's unfair to Messi and to Haaland to compare either one of them. I understand why they asked it because they're like, you coached Messi, now you're coaching this fucking guy, and he's doing great. You play with KDB. I'm sorry, he's going to elevate. It's just one of those things that happens. Phil Foden is a great young player. He had the hat trick too. They're out there having fun, just playing around for fun. Goguma, I guessed it, says the one where he's right about everything, including Emerson. I guessed it right. So I'm 3 for 3 on Scott, Goguma, and Cubes. Jaco, Haaland is great, but City has KDB, my favorite player. He's not my favorite player. Fuck that dude. He won that award when Kane should have won it. It's messed up, man. It's messed up. See, Sherman says
Diaz that won it, wasn't it?
And he also won award when Sonny should have won an award last.
Diaz won the award when Kane should have.
Oh, that's right. It was Diaz. I knew it was some City fucker.
That's why it was even more frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Diaz won that. Like, at least KDB last year was like debatable. I mean, Diaz I think had a very good year, but I just don't know how you. Anyways, if we get down that rabbit hole. I think one thing about Haaland this year, it's like it's what he's doing is great, and well, it's early to say, but it looks like it now, and City has looked like this in the past, but that they are really unbeatable at this point. Like, in terms of not in a single game, but in terms of like for the league, they're not going to get. Nobody's taken the league from them, even Champions League. But I just wonder, it's like last year, why did they go last year? Even if it isn't Haaland level player, but just think if they, I mean, for example, Kane, like if they would have ponied up the money for Kane, like you see how deadly they are when they have that guy who's just a finisher, right? Not Jesus has his skills, and I think he gets underrated what he did for them, but you see what they can do when they have a player like that, and it's just like
not Jesus' ass.
Last year, screwing around, like I still. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. And then you take them. What you said, they were just fooling around last year, stumbled into the the trophy. And it's just like
I say fooling around, and I mean, yeah, they won the league.
Yeah, they're fooling around is no joke for us. But what I find interesting is you take that, and then they signed Calvin Phillips, one of the best defensive mids. I would argue one of the best players for Leeds United. They got him for a decent price. He doesn't even fucking see the field. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. They just have so much depth everywhere. It's just not fair. Just not fair at all. But enough about them bastards. I don't like them. J. Code, to me, football is about teamwork, passing, and KDB makes football beautiful. No, he's a hell of a player. I enjoy watching him when he plays for Belgium, but I do not enjoy watching him when he plays for City because he's a bastard. But shout out, that's your favorite player. I like Adama Traore. I like Alon Saint-Maximin. If I had to pick another favorite player outside of Sonny, probably like a Zlatan. I like Zlatan a lot. That'd probably be my other favorite player outside of Young Man Daddy, which, if I mention him on the pop-up, you know that this has got to pop up.
Speaking of Man City, I will say this. I am very happy that Man City just completely battered Man United because it just made it into, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Sorry, my dog is like literally right next to the laptop. So right next to the computer. But I'm excited because at least the story of the weekend wasn't just Arsenal, like, not like battering us, because like Man City battered Man United and by like way more. And so I was like,
in a funky fashion as well. Double hat tricks.
Yeah, somebody else is getting the headlines, not just us, thank God.
And it's a good thing as United as well, because if it was like Bournemouth again, no one cares. They're just like, whatever, that's going to happen. But when it's, United, but at the end of the day, I still think we have the most watched derby out of the two. That's right, J-Co. Sonny's always on top. Team nipples. That's correct. Damn it. I'm not, man, I hate City. Done talking about them. I hate Poo-United. Penchester Poo-United. That's what I call them. I don't like them either. I don't like a lot of people in the Premier League, honestly, if they're not really one of these two guys. But anywho, the next little thing I want to talk about with y'all, the main reason why I popped up tonight, and I'm glad that y'all popped up with me, in the words of Conte. So I'm going to share this. Football London, Alistair Gold, you all know, la-di-da, he said some things. He's got it all written down here. And there's a few things that I want to run off and discuss with y'all first and foremost. As we all know, Kulusevski, he's out. Mora apparently has some like really bad thing going on. And he also said, the team, we're trying to move on, and there's another game coming up. So they asked, can you play 3-5-2 now without Kulusevski available? He says, Kulusevski is out, but with this type of player, this squad, we can play with these two systems, 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. We also, Bissouma is a player that is a good player who can play with the two midfielders. The two strikers could be Sonny and Kane or RIcharlison and Kane. On Kulusevski, it is better when we want to play with 3-4-3. This, to me, a little bit, he might be hinting that, like, okay, it is time for the 3-5-2 because there is no Kulusevski. He likes it better, the option of having Kulusevski with the 3-4-3. No Kulusevski. Maybe that means 3-5-2. Maybe. Do y'all think that he's alluding to something with that there?
Yeah. I said that earlier, that I feel like there's a lot more likelihood that he would do a 3-5-2 for this coming game, simply because of personnel. And I think that I think if Bissouma did indeed have the muscle issues or something that they were saying it was, then I think that it would be better by now, I would hope. And then maybe that's why he's able to play the 3-5-2 a little bit more.
That's fair. Scott, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, so my only question is then when he says in the next part where he says still in the squad, Brian Hill, tomorrow he is the first option for attack. Does he then mean like our first option?
Oh, you're looking ahead, Scott. You're not supposed to look ahead. No cheating.
Because my only question is, if we're playing a 3-5-2, I don't see how Brian Hill can play in a 3-5-2 because
I think his thing about Brian Hill is that
as in like as a sub, because he already said so. Basically, he would take Kane and Son, or he would play Kane and Richie, and then he would sub out whoever else. And if there was another person that they have to sub out, they would sub out Hill, or they would sub out them out.
Kane and Son, or RIcharlison and Kane. So Kane is just going to continue to play nonstop.
No. So what happened is so that's what I mean. So it would be Kane and Son, and then if that was the case, it was Kane and Son. Then he would put on, Richie for Sonny, right? And then if he had to sub again, then he would probably choose Richie to be the striker, like the main striker, and then Hill to be like the support or like runner or something.
Just to run.
But I don't think he would get there. I think that he would probably end up just being Kane would have to just like play the whole game, and he's gonna definitely sub out Son for Richie.
Yeah, Kane. I think it's in his contract. Kane said you can't take me off.
60 games, 90 minutes of every game. Never take a break at all.
No, don't do it, Kane. We need you. To me, I hope we go with the 3-5-2 personally, because I think Sonny excels more in that. At least the bits we've seen this season, we all know about the hat trick. There's this sentence here that I wanted to touch on about Brian Keele. It says he straight up I love Conte, man, because he just fucking says it. And we wanted to send him on loan to Valencia, but the situation has changed.
It's not like the situation changed it. He showed that he was a better player, that he could fit. It's like
I trust him. He is working very well. Trust him what? To fetch your coffee? What do you trust him doing exactly?
So I don't think it's mean, because Hill also wanted to go to Valencia. So it wasn't like we wanted to get rid of him and he didn't want to go. It was Hill wanted to go to Valencia, and he was actually seemed like he was upset that he didn't end up getting to go.
Oh no, I don't think it's mean to him. I think it's like, screw you, club. Like, we wanted him to go. He wanted to go, and there was other decisions that were not football related that made that decision not happen.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. Is this next part here? So the question was, some of the fans have been hoping to see Jed Spence might get a few minutes with Emerson's upcoming suspension. Will that happen? He says, quote, "The fans have to be fans. The fans is the fans. I understand they can think everything, but I see every day what happens during the training session." This part to me stands out the most, because this is something that I've been harping on as to when everyone's like, oh, why is Emerson always playing? Why are we keep seeing this? And yada, yada. I always said, at the end of the day, Conte sees these players every day in training. He's going to put forward the best formation he thinks and line up to avoid a loss, because he hates fucking losing. And I respect that. And then he literally said that. So I felt very validated by this. So I just want to take a second. Thank you, Conte, for validating my fucking experience.
Same. I said the same thing like multiple times. He's like, why doesn't he play Spence? I'm like,
clearly there's a reason.
He doesn't think he's ready. And he sees, and why
this next line, that's exactly what he said to Cube.
Yeah.
He said, if I didn't pick one player, maybe he's not ready.
I mean, he keeps telling us that, right? Like he said, he wasn't my player. It wasn't my choice to come in. If I pick him, maybe he's not ready. Like, he has the option. He's never played again in his history. He doesn't play players like Spence. Like, why people keep trying to spin some narrative that he actually wants him, that he's actually that wants him for this season. Like, he clearly keeps telling us that, and people say, no, Conte, he really wanted him. He's a Conte player. No, he's not. He might turn into a Conte player, but he's not a Conte player for this season. He's not what Conte wants to use. He keeps telling us that, but I'm sure we're still here.
But the club has been releasing statements through like Ali Gold and others basically saying, oh, he is a Conte player. Yeah. He was a club signing, but, he definitely has all the attributes of a Conte player. Like, they've definitely been saying that, and I'm like, that's definitely PR coming from the club. I mean, not definitely, but it sounds like...
I mean, come on. If he didn't say it...
control situation coming from the club, it sounds like.
It's pretty funny, and I love his straight on it, because this was unprovoked. No one asked him. This next paragraph is literally just him answering more to the question. He didn't have to, but he did. In regards to Spence, he said, we're talking about a young player with a good prospect, but I repeat, I try to pick the best team. And then this is my favorite part. I love this so much. Also, I love it. He just pulled this up out of nowhere. He's like, you know what? While we're talking about fuckers, also Doherty last season played every game. Now I'm not seeing him in the right way to start the game. I'm not stupid. I don't want to lose. I try to put the best team, to pick the best team. If they trust me, it's okay. If they don't trust me, then I'm the coach, and I need to make the best decision for Tottenham. This line, I'm not seeing him in the right way to start the game. I'm not stupid. I don't want to lose. I'm not even going to ask a question. Y'all just tell me what you think.
He's not 100% fit. And we said that so many times. Doherty is not 100% fit. He did pick him over Emerson. That's why he said it just now. He said, I picked him last season, played every game. It's because he did pick Emerson. He did pick Doherty over Emerson. I think that Doherty is his first choice since he did pick him last season time and time again over Emerson. But then Doherty was injured and he hasn't been the same ever since. I don't think Doherty is 100% fit. And I'll be completely honest, I don't know if he ever will be. I mean, that was a really bad injury. I mean, knee injuries are like a different story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he'll ever go back to the level he was at.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to assume the level that you were putting that word level on, but you said, just the way you said it was funny to me, because you said we'll never see him at that level again, and to me, I'm like, what level are we talking exactly? I feel like that's pretty attainable if Scott and I hit the pitch for a couple weeks.
He was, I mean, I'm not saying he was amazing, but I'm saying, like, I don't know if he'll be the same as he was last season. Even, you know what I mean? Even though we felt like there was much to be desired last season, I also don't want to forget that, like, he had some good games last season too. Like, he was really instrumental in the 5-0 win over Everton. He was really instrumental in the, I think 5-1 was it, win over Newcastle. He scored a couple of goals in those. He was, like, doing really great crosses in. He's not, he's not, a Reece James or a Hakimi or anything like that, but I do think that he was starting to gain some traction before he got injured, and I think that, like, he may not ever get that to that, level.
Yeah, that run going again.
Yeah,
no, the injury, I think you touched on it. The injury is bad enough. Give his age, give his just physical shape before the injury. I'm not going to say he was the most fit, but he was. He was in shape enough for Conte to pick him. Real quick, I'm going to come through some of these comments. Jaco, I've started this comment. We'll come back to it as soon as we're done with the Conte quotes. We'll talk a little more World Cup. I also starred some of y'all's answers. Goguma, Japan, or Goguma C. Sherman said Japan. I've got y'all starred. Sorry. But we will come back to that. Mile High Hotspur in the house says, do you guys remember how Conte used the same words last year about Winks? He said Winks was a player he could trust, and look what happened. I don't remember that specifically, but if he did say that about Winks, it's pretty telling. It's pretty telling at the end of the day. I mean, he wanted the guy gone, never played the guy. So, but big up yourself. Big ups. Glad you popped up tonight with us. Let's see. I also saw David popped up in the house tonight. Said not the nicest thing to say, but I don't care. He's a proven winner, and I trust his decisions and what he sees in practice 100%. I'm with you, David. I trust him. He's a proven winner. He's done it before. Done it at the highest level. Also says, sounds like Seth's left wing back, Perisic right wing back next 3 league games. That was my ending point here. It doesn't sound like Doherty's a go. Doesn't sound like he thinks Jed Spence is ready. So likely going to see what we've seen before, and that's Perisic on the right, Seth on the left. Scott, are you okay with that? Do you have a problem with that?
I mean, to be honest, there's no good right wing back solution that we have. I'm not a big Seth guy. I don't think he's good enough. And I think Perisic is better on the left than he is on the right. When we brought him in, I know a lot of people said, let's just play him on the right and bring in, say, Kostic. And I probably would have preferred that to what we have. But I don't think Perisic should be playing right wing back as much as it seems that he has. And the next 3 games is like a consistent right wing back. It's not ideal, but I guess. I mean, I think if we have Perisic at left wing back and Doherty or Spence at right wing back, I don't think that's any better than this combination. So sure, for lack of a better option, I don't. I mean, again, Doherty, kind of what C Cubed was saying is it's a bad injury, right? And him at his best, he is the best option at right wing back. And we saw a few times last year he was at his best. I still don't think him at his best he's good enough for what we need, but that's a different debate. But the problem is with his injury, and last year, even when he was on that hot streak, he still had a few poor performances mixed in there. And I just don't think you can trust him. And I think we've seen that with what Conte's saying. I just don't think you can trust that he's going to be able to give those top level performances again.
Yeah.
Like, that injury's terrible. Conte's obviously seen something in training that's showing that he's not ready. I thought he was terrible when he came on for the Arsenal game as well. So, sure, if you wanted to...
He played really bad for... I didn't watch the game, but I heard that he was pretty bad for Ireland over the international break as well. And, and when we're talking about levels, I'm like, if he wasn't good enough last season, then imagine now with the injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Worse.
That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to see Doherty. I haven't been a fan of him really since I've seen him in a Spurs shirt. And that's just me being honest. Last year, I felt like, okay, finally I'm seeing something from him. Then he got fucking injured. So to me, I haven't seen enough from him to prove anything. This is probably our strongest. I mean, I would also like to see Perisic and Jed Spence personally, just because I want to see Jed Spence at least so I can make a call as to what I think. But again, like Conte said, and like C. Sherman said, Conte's saying, shut the fuck up. I have this job for a reason. I'm the fucking manager. You're a fan. Be a fan. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm saying, hey, I'd like to see Spence. But I think it's great because he's also putting people like myself and others in line saying, I don't think he's ready. I don't give a shit what you think. I see this motherfucker every day, and I don't think it's gonna work.
He was actually kind of alluding to that a little bit when everybody kept talking about how he should drop Sonny. I mean, yeah, he eventually he did rotate and rest him, but it took him a while because he just decided. I mean, it was up to him when he decided he would want to rest or rotate or drop or whatever you want to call it, right? And you don't even know in regards to what his motivations were of doing that. But he actually said in a press conference where people were they asked maybe 4 questions about dropping Sonny, and they kept pushing him on it. And then he point blank said, he basically was I'm the manager and I don't see a problem right now. And it looks like you're trying to create a problem. He's like, shouldn't it be something that I'm concerned about as the coach, instead of you being concerned about it? He basically was saying essentially the same thing as this, except for maybe a little less bluntly, but he was kind of if I see it as a problem, it's I'm the manager, shouldn't that mean it's a problem? Why are you trying to create? He literally said, it seems like you're creating a problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love about Conte. He keeps it straight up. He tells it how we want to see it. And then, Conte goes on to talk about, that he's managed in Europe. He's won in Europe. Talk about in England. Sometimes you can concede 6, 7, 8 goals. It's happened a lot of times. I won in England, and then I won in my past. I think I can teach football to many people. I think that last line is for me. It's for you. It's for every single one of us. He's just trying to teach us a little thing about ball. And I'm trying to soak it up, man. I really am. But at the end of the day, when I see things like what we saw on Saturday, you're naturally going to question things. I think that's fair. That you're going to wonder, what the hell's going on with my club? Let me see something different. Emerson's fucking... I've tried to defend this dude. I've tried to not be too hard on him because I try to really back our players when they're in a Tottenham shirt. No more. Emerson doesn't get that from me anymore. Can't defend him. There's actually something I saw that actually angered me. I'm going to see if I can pull that up and share it with y'all. God, here it is. I found it. Let me share this. And it's just shit like this that I see, and it's bro, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this, straight up. I really don't know how am I supposed to feel about this? Let me, here we go. Share that. And then I'll put that up there. Look at this. This is on his Instagram story today. Little, yeah. So, you know, before the London Derby, he had one very similar, but he was dancing. And so I saw that circulating after he got sent off. And shit like that, I'm like, I was used to say, you know, he's young. He seems like he's the nicest motherfucker. Like, he seems like a good dude. Nice locker room guy. Maybe help RIcharlison acclimate. But that's not an excuse at this point. We need a dependable person. If we're sitting here and saying, damn, remember Serge Aurier? He at least got some assists. Remember, you know, it's like, how are we in a worse position than when we had Serge Aurier? I really don't understand that. Ahmad K says, at least he's keeping a straight face. At least he's not dancing and shit. That's right. C. Shimmer does Chicken Royale have merch. You know he's got his own merch. He actually has his own platform where you can spend 15 euros and you make money based on how well his career goes from the point in which you invested. So he's trying to get some money off you there too.
Well,
Dave
that's
Hotspur.
not a very good investment then.
No, sounds like he hasn't invested his money wise either, because allegedly he invested $1 million into his improving his game. We haven't seen it yet. Dave Hotspur says Emerson must never play for Spurs again. Out in January. I love it, Dave. I have no more sympathy. No more.
I just think that Emerson. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Emerson is just, it's so frustrating because, I mean, not only is he playing like shy, but like it's also that I feel like he just doesn't get it. You know, like every time he makes a mistake, they pan to his face and he's just smiling. You know, he just, and then somebody was saying, oh, it's just like he just has a positive attitude. I'm like, no, Sonny has a positive attitude. You know, like, but you see, he's an emotional guy. He tries to be positive and he's very like smiley and happy during training. But when Sonny makes a mistake, he hits the crossbar, something happens, he slips, then you can see him get frustrated, you know? But Emerson, he never gets frustrated on the pitch. You notice, like, they pan his face after he makes a mistake and he's always smiling and laughing it off. And it just makes me so frustrated because I'm like, you just don't get it, you know? And I feel like whenever he comes on the pitch, it's like he's coming on the pitch for like a game of Sunday football with his mates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he's just messing around.
Premier League game? I don't know. I mean, okay, I don't know if that's harsh or not, but like it feels like that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Also, wanted to point out I want to ask y'all this because I think he's going to be starting tomorrow for Frankfurt. What about y'all? Do y'all think he's going to be starting tomorrow?
Yeah, for Frankfurt?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the safest bet is to say yes, because Conte doesn't seem to like to change it up. But I would rather him try what he wants to see on the weekend to see if it works. So if that is, like you said, if he wants, I mean, maybe if he's doing the Cess and Perisic, he's already seen it enough. He knows what's happening. But if he's gonna, I would rather see him give Doherty a chance to go out there and see if he can do anything, because we need to figure out what we're doing in the next 3 games in the Premier League at right wing back. I guess I could see maybe you say, well, he'll play Emerson because he's not going to play on the weekend, so he can just run him into the ground. But
yeah, that's what I kind of feel.
I don't know. I would rather kind of see somebody else get a chance to play to see if they can see what they have to offer, because we got to figure out right wing back. And I mean, I guess if he's, like I said, if he's going with the Cess Perisic option, he knows it. So play Emerson, let him go out there and suck.
Speaking of things, I was going to say speaking of things, but then you said suck. So then that threw me off. I was going to say something else. But speaking of things that I do want to see, we've got a special guest. with Kyrian. What's cracking?
How's it going, guys?
Looking good, my friend. How are we doing? How are you? Thank you for popping up
Doing
tonight,
good.
my friend.
I have so much joy right now. These three American Canadian boys are some of my favorite Spurs fanboys in the Americas. So
Me too.
I'm
personally.
very excited to be on with all three of you.
I'm very happy that you're on, Kyrian. I'm very happy that you're here as well. Don't know how much of the show you've gotten thus far, but we were just kind of briefly touching on a lot of the things that Conte said in his press conference today. Thought there was a lot of telling things. Did you have a chance to see that? And if you did, what are your initial thoughts on some of the things he said?
So I didn't see it, as in I didn't watch the video of the press conference, but I did see quotes from it. I saw the quotes on Spence, the quotes on Emerson, Doherty. I saw some other things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I'm not sure what to think of it. What it tells me is that what I suspected, which is Doherty is still not fully fit. He hasn't recovered from his injury. We're talking about a player who wasn't really known for his athleticism to begin with. And then, he's 30 years old. He had a serious ligament injury, and he recovered from it quicker than he probably was predicted to. But then, I guess obviously hasn't fully recovered, hasn't been able to come back to show Conte that he's fit enough to play and do what he wants and execute his game plan. As for Spence, I mean, I feel like he already made it clear how he felt. Is that he's a young player, that he was a club signing. He's not the player he wanted, and he's not going to play for that reason. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. Goguma, big up yourself. She said she's got to go. Great show. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed your lunch break. Hope we kept you some company there. Kieran, is Brian Hill an option for our attack off the bench?
I mean, I guess he said that he trusted him in the interview, which, I mean, that's the first I've heard of that, because everything I've heard before was that he wasn't physical enough. He plays, he has always played as an orthodox left winger. Stay close to the touchline, get to the byline and cross type of winger, which is not what Conte uses, either in the 3-4-3 or more correctly 3-4-2-1 formation we usually use, and in the 3-5-2 it's just fullbacks and a striker pair. So I mean, I guess he said he trusts him. I guess for that. He probably just means that he trusts him to play. Like, he feels like he can put him out on the field.
He has two legs, and I think he can run around with two legs, and he has a head that's on his shoulders, and it'll hopefully stay there unless he takes a hard tackle. Exactly. He has a heart that's beating. There's blood flowing through his veins. I trust that fact. That's what it sounded like to me.
That's what it sounds like, too.
You have nobody else on the bench, like, literally. Like, they don't even have their... they don't even have Dane Scarlett on the bench anymore. So when you don't even have anybody on the bench, then it's like, well, this person has great hair and can run.
He's alive. Yeah. He's alive. He's a beating heart, a warm body, if you will. Sometimes I live right here by the border of Mexico. If you're trying to get some manual labor done on not too expensive, usually there's some workers that are willing to work, some day laborers on the bridge. And what my boss always said to me was, just go get me some warm bodies. I don't give a shit what they look like, what they can do. Tell them, this is the money. I need a warm body. And at this point, it sounds like that's where Conte's at. He's like, I trust that he's going to be alive when the game starts. Now we'll see if that happens. He might play, he might not, but
trust that he's going to be alive.
I trust he'll be breathing when the match kicks off, and that he'll be there. It's like, thank you, Conte. I think it's funny. Who knows? People call him Hill Messi. Is that what they call him? Lionel Hill. But I I think it's yet to be seen. From what we did see of him, didn't see enough. C. Sherman says Conte isn't going to say heal his shit. He might need him. He can fog a mirror. That's a good way of putting it. He can fog a mirror.
Yeah.
And when I overall look at the things that Conte said, I love it because he's pretty transparent. He's pretty honest, whether that's him on purpose or that's like a language barrier thing, English, Italian to English, who knows? I don't. But I can only go off what he says. And the whole Doherty thing, he was just like, yo, he's not good. He's not going to play. That's it. And no one even asked him about Doherty. They were asking about Jed Spence. Like, maybe Jed Spence can play. And he's like, no. But also, this guy, no. Like,
because he reads things. He sees what the fans are saying, and he sees what the press are writing, and he's just like, well, while I'm at it, let me just say this,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's disappointing because it basically confirms that we're never going to see last 8 games of the season or whatever Doherty again. That's not going to happen again. I think the guy's career is probably over at this level. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they try to move him on or terminate his contract in the summer. Selling him is going to be hard. They'll probably just terminate his contract, honestly.
Yeah, no one's going to come.
I think
no one's going to come in, and it's not going to cost him a lot of money for them to buy out the rest of his contract. Anyway, he's not on a lot of money, so
I think that there was a chance that they thought maybe he could come back from it. Like before the season started, and he was working on it, and now we're in October, and I don't think that Conte is seeing the type of progress that he was hoping for, and then maybe others were probably hoping for, including Doherty, coming back from that injury. And so that's also why I think Doherty had said that Conte had told him to try to get some games in during international break for Ireland, and he would, be able to look at whether or not he could play him after. He played badly for Ireland, what I heard. And I mean, hey, like, because it sounds like it's based off of that, it kind of sounds like Conte wasn't actually opposed to playing him if he could get there. Like, it seemed like he wasn't, like I said earlier in the stream, where I felt like he did pick Doherty, and he pointed that out. He did pick Doherty for like every game ahead of Emerson. So I think that Doherty, I think he generally liked Doherty compared to his other options. But he's just not seeing it. He's just like, you know what? He's just not coming back from that injury,
Yeah. And he kind of says the same thing about Lucas Moura, that the tendon, they were hoping to see something different. The specialist is not seeing what he wants to see from whatever tendon, etc. I'm starting to wonder, all right, let's look at Skip. He didn't come back when we thought he would. Romero's been 50-50 when he comes back from injury. He was out a little bit longer than we all thought initially. And then you look at Doherty. He's been out a little bit longer. Lucas Moura has been out a little bit longer. How many motherfuckers got to be out a little bit longer before we start looking at the damn medical team and say, what the hell's going on?
Let's fingers crossed about Decky. Let's just keep our fingers crossed on Decky, and that it's not more than they're claiming it is right now. I'm just really hoping for that. But I do want to point out, since you brought up Skippy, so Skip did look pretty good in preseason when he did come on, especially having not played for like half a season, not played a single match for half a season, and coming back from injury, including a surgery. He did look pretty good in preseason. And then unfortunately for him, unlucky for him, he got injured again. And I don't think he was that bad coming back for the Arsenal game either. Like, he hasn't played a match. He hasn't played at all any minutes since he was injured again, like at the very start of the season. And sure enough, like, I think that he came back fairly strong. So I think that maybe it's his age or something, and just also his attitude. He's very eager to play, I think. I think that Skippy has the best chance compared to a lot of these people to just like bounce back and like be able to like slide back in,
Yeah, honestly, out of everybody who's been out of the team, he's for sure the one most likely to come in and get minutes. I think he'll get a lot of minutes throughout the rest of the season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him play tomorrow night. I think that's very likely that he gets subbed on tomorrow. It just this right wing back situation, man, it's just a fucking farce, and it's so annoying because it's just every season we have this problem where there's one position in the squad that is just a glaring need, a huge need. We drop points because of it. It's obvious. Everybody talks about it. Fans, pundits. Every season we have this situation, and we're in it again. Even after getting Conte, we're still in this situation again, where we have a position that is critical to the team, and we don't have a good player there. We don't have a decent player. We don't even have a guy who can go in and do a job. I mean, Spence could probably do it. Conte's not going to play him. Emerson shit. Doherty's clearly shit now. I mean, what are we going to do? Hell, honestly.
Perisic on the right.
Speaking of Skip, Perisic is bad on the right. Honestly, speaking of Skip, I'd rather see Skip play right wing back than any of these guys at this point. I bet he could do it.
We're definitely struggling. Sorry, Kieran, I lost you there. Finish your thought?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Jaco says right wing back and central midfielder.
I would have said a center back, but that's just
I agree with you, Kieran. Center back.
Somebody
it's interesting.
To compete with Dyer.
Yeah, Dyer just knows he's going to start. So what'd you say, Keith?
I can't believe you said that, Kieran. I mean, Dyer's your favorite player, though. It's like I mean, how would you? Why would you want to ever upgrade or replace your favorite player, Dyer? It's like as if Scott M was talking about like in any way putting like Richie, his favorite player, on the bench.
I think she's trying to rally y'all up. There's the next thing, the last little bit I wanted to talk with y'all about tonight. Moving forward, moving on, looking beyond Frankensteinfurt thoughts. I could have done the better title, but I didn't. Kieran, I'll start with you. We got Frankfurt. They're coming to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, who actually just hosted an NFL game as well. But nonetheless, Frankfurt come to town. What are your initial thoughts?
No, it's away. It's away. It's in Germany.
Oh, that's lovely that I got that.
Yeah,
it is. It's Deutsche Bank Park, Frankfurt.
Deutsche
You're
Bank
right.
Park, yeah.
So they're not coming to town. Why would I?
They're already there. They're in Germany now. Yeah, the press conferences today were from. Germany.
And there was there was also a photo of Kane, Dyer, and Doherty in the halls of and it said Frankfurt on the walls. I should have. That was just a dumb lapse on my end. But see, that's why I like it when you're here. I like it when people in the chat, cubes, etc. They all keep me on track, keep me honest, because I don't want to talk about. But they're not. We're in Germany. We're already there. We're having some bratwurst, what's some big. I know Hasselhoff is a big deal in Germany. I could have thought of more German themes because I didn't think I actually thought we were playing at home.
Schnitzel? I don't
know. Interesting. Every year on Father's Day, for the past 2 Father's Days, I get schnitzel on Father's Day. It's becoming a tradition, and it's one of my more prouder traditions that Daddy's gonna get a motherfucking schnitzel on his day. No one can stop me, and it feels empowering. So I like that. Frankfurter. I should have went with Frankfurt. I'm going to change it right now to Frankfurt, actually, because that's way better. But go ahead. Hit me with. I asked you a question, then I just completely ran all over you.
Oh, no, it's good. Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. They're 5th in the Bundesliga right now. They play very attacking football. They score a lot of goals, but they also let in a lot of goals. It'll be kind of like playing Arsenal, except a weaker, definitely not as strong of a team. But they're going to come out and they're going to try and dominate possession and create a lot of chances, and we're going to have to deal with that. It's a game I'm worried about because I feel like, if we get scored on early,
Is that a kitty cat?
Yeah, I'll have to
I hear a meow meow.
see if she's training in here. I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, yeah,
Cats are. This is an animal friendly show and channel. Animals are allowed at any moment.
Such a disruption. All right, hold on, I'm gonna have to deal with this. I'm sorry.
My dog is like curled up pretty close to me right now, sleeping. But earlier he was like right up against the laptop, which is why I was like, "Can you guys hear that?" I was not sure if you could hear him like scratching or like breathing really heavily. I was like, "I'm sorry, I swear it's not me."
No, I couldn't hear it. Scott, are you there, buddy?
I'm just kind of getting over C-Cube taking shots at me when I'm gone.
Dang.
Such unnecessary hatred from
Where was the shot?
members
Simply
of the
because I said that you were in love, Richie, and like I don't know how how is that a shot? I mean,
just
like I don't
because
get
I'm the only Tottenham fan that properly rates RIcharlison is. But that's okay.
Well, there you go. You just said
There
it.
you
You
go.
properly rate RIcharlison. So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's
Okay,
hilarious.
what are we're talking about Frankfurt now? Yeah,
No,
I think,
Frankfurt.
It's hard because I look at the way that they play, and Kieran said they're very attacking, and I think they're going to be open a bit. So if we're on our game, right, I think there's going to be chances for Kane and Son to get some chances, assuming they're playing. But at the same time, I don't like the idea of them running right through our midfield, right, with Daichi Kamada, who I think kind of plays as I don't know, is he playing as their number 9? I think he's playing more in the midfield right now, isn't he? But they have those players who are going to cause us trouble because they have attacking quality. So I don't know. It's concerning because I don't want to see their attacking players against our defenders, Dyer, and whoever we play there on the right. And so hopefully, I mean, let's be honest, they're doing well right now in the Bundesliga, but last year I think they finished 10th or 12th. They aren't one of the top teams in the Bundesliga right now. They're not the Leipzig, although Leipzig's whatever they're doing now, but they aren't, the Leipzig of the past, which was a quality Bundesliga team. They're not Bayern Munich. I'm not even sure that they're, they're not Dortmund. They're not even the Borussia Mönchengladbach, however you pronounce that word, right? So it's a team we should beat these teams in this Bundesliga if we're going to be a threat in Europe, if we're going to be a threat in the league. So
yeah, I agree. Even if we're going to
simple fact, we should beat them, even though it's on in their stadium. But we've seen so many times that we fail to show up in these games.
Yeah, and it is a little bit more worrisome now that Kieran corrected me in the fact that we're in Germany. But when we drew them, if I'm not mistaken, Frankfurt had yet to win a game in the league when they were drawn in our group. Now I know that could have changed very quickly, but again, this is a team like Sporting Lisbon. I feel like we should go out there and we should dominate, and we did not do that versus Lisbon. So I am a little concerned. I am a little interested to see what we're gonna do. Cubes, do you have any initial Frankfurt thoughts? Excuse me.
Well, first I'd like to say that, Scott, you do have some people in the chat who agree with you about, rating Richie well and, your man crush on Richie. So,
Philly says he rates RIcharlison.
Yeah. And Jayco says, didn't know Scott has a man crush on Richie. So, great job with getting some fans there. So, anyways, Frankfurt. I don't know a lot about Frankfurt. I think that I would like to see 2-5-3 I mentioned earlier. I would like to see Basuma in the midfield, and I would like to see Kane and Sonny up top. I think that would maybe get us a little bit more stability in the back end midfield, so that our strikers that have more quality can actually, get forward instead of having to track back so much to defend when our defense is shaky. So that's my hope. But I don't know very much about Frankfurt and how they play. I think that considering it's away, but also like kind of how, I guess, the expectations around Frankfurt, I feel like we could win that game. But it might be scrappy. It'll be like a draw or like a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that. Yeah. I actually don't think. I think that we will probably concede at least one goal. I just don't trust our defense right now. But we do need to win that game because, especially after losing the Arsenal game, I do think that Conte is better, especially in the back half of the last season, about responding to defeats better and like jumping, like bouncing back, and that will be key. Like I said that in anticipation of the Arsenal game, I said like regardless of what the result is, the key to the season and the success is of either team is being able to bounce back afterwards, and not let whatever the result is mess with the mentality. So I think that it'll be super, super important for us to win this Frankfurt game because that will set us up for a better winning mentality for Brighton and not necessarily result in a losing run or a losing streak. Because if we don't win Frankfurt, then I think it'll be hard for us to win Brighton because we'll just kind of like get into that, that pit, and
yeah, I know what you mean. For me, I think that this is a moment where we can kill two birds with one stone, ostensibly, because we just came off the loss of Arsenal. If you go back to our Champions League, most recently we lost versus Lisbon. So to me, winning in the Champions League would then say, hey, we're not playing around. We're still here in the Champions League. We understand the assignment. And then also say in the Premier League that, hey, we're still coming. We still got quality. We're figuring this thing out. I hope you're right, Cubes. I hope we can go out there and just gut it out, maybe 2-1. Hell, even a 1-1 at this point. I'll take the draw away from home just because I know how ass we are when apparently the crowd's not singing for us. So that's a little disappointing for me.
Yeah.
But since there is a game tomorrow, before we end this stream, I would be remiss if we didn't do the thing we always do before games. We do score predictions, goal scores. Kyrian, how do you see tomorrow going, and what is the final score, and who scores the goals, if any at all?
So I have to admit, sorry, I got interrupted earlier.
Meow meow.
I have to admit, I agree with Scott that this is a team we should be beating, but I am worried about this game. I really believe that if we don't get ahead in the first half and go into halftime with the lead, that this could easily go against us. And they are a team that if they get in and they score, they could easily score another quick in rapid succession. Daichi Kamada, like Sherman says in the comments.
Yeah, I haven't started here. Daichi Kamada.
Yeah, 4 goals, 2 assists. He's a class player. He's a player that that Tottenham has been scouting. He's very good. And we have to be careful. We have to be careful for sure. We have to go in. We have to come at them from the off. And I'm not saying, we have to press super high and try to, but we do need to be aggressive, be the first man to every 50-50, every ball in the air. We have to win. We have to be aggressive. We have to have hard tackles, put them off their game. Don't let them string too many passes together, and then be quick and lethal on the counter. Clinical, especially. Clinical is the number one thing, because despite being, in my opinion, being very poor, throughout the game against Arsenal. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, we weren't that bad in the first half." I disagree, but despite being very poor, even so, if we had been more clinical, we still could have taken at least a point from that game, if not one. So that's going to be crucial. You know, when we get in behind in the first half, we have to put it in the net, go 1-0, 2-0 up by halftime, and I think we win it. But it could be a tough one. I'm going to predict quite a few goals in this one, actually. I'm going to go with a 3-2 Spurs.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Harry Kane brace. And the other goal scorer will be RIcharlison.
Damn. That's hoping Heung daddy.
Yeah, I kind of want to go Son, but this seems to me like a game that RIcharlison might actually get a little more joy in. And he could really bully teams in the box. Bully this team in the box.
15 minutes of it because he's coming from the bench.
That's if I mean the only way I see that happening is if we play a 3-5-2, which I don't think we will.
But who knows? Maybe he can get a 13-minute hat trick, as be that impact sub.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Harry Kane brace, RIcharlison goal. I'm gonna say at least two of those. I think both of Harry Kane's goals will come from Son assists. Though. Okay. So I'll even go so far as to predict that. And Daichi Kamada is going to score at least one. Probably assist the other, honestly. So, yeah, 3-2 Spurs.
Hell yeah. Well, we win it. I don't give a shit at the end of the day as long as we win it. Cubes, you got a score prediction and goal scores for me?
Yeah, so I think I said, what is it, a 2-1? I mean, I think that there is a risk of it being 1-1, but I'll just say 2-1. I think that, God, it depends on what formation we play. If we play a 2 up top, then I say Sonny scores. If we don't play a 2 up top, I don't know if he scores.
Yeah.
But if he plays a 2, I could say that it'll be Son, Kane, maybe even 2 Son, both being Sonny, or one being Son and one being Kane if we do a 2 up top and he's one of those 2. If we do a 3 up top, then might get 1 goal but might not get any. And then it would be like Richie and Kane, or just a Kane brace. Yeah, so, and then I was just going to answer the question, I think, that was posed to the panel like a while back. So
did I not ask you?
Yeah, there was the who else, if you're rooting for any other teams in the World Cup.
I was going to do that last.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Then yeah, that's my score prediction and goal scorers.
Okay, cool. So we still win, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, 2-1.
Okay. I hope we do the 3-5 for that same reason. Because I think Sonny can score in that. Scott M. What you got for us, buddy? I know you're gonna. I saved you for last because I felt like you might bring us down to earth or just try and bury us with your answer. So
no, I'm going to be very specific though. I'll say overall it's a 2-1 victory. We'll go down after 10 minutes, 1-0 down. Kane will score a penalty at the 82nd minute and then a header from a corner at the 88th minute to seal the victory. Sonny will come on.
That is what's going to happen. Scott M's right.
Sonny will come on at about the 63rd minute. He'll frustrate Kane with his terrible passing and his heavy touches, as he always does. Kane will overcome because he's a true Spurs legend. He'll overcome, save us in the end. And that's it. That's what I got. So
I love it, Scott.
You mean Kane will play badly the entire game, but then score a header or a penalty in the 88th minute and then be the hero and be like, he's amazing, he's the best player.
Exactly, because that's what world-class players do. Cubed, get with it.
That's okay. I mean, I'll still think Son will be the second best player, even with his terrible passing. That's what we saw.
Wait, hold on. That's
of his passing from the
Wait a minute.
Game.
I thought that Richie was the best player to you. I thought that you felt like Richie was your favorite player on the team.
Oh, Richie's generational, man. He can do whatever. He's generational. You're generational. Like, you don't have to score goals. That's generational. Guys, they don't need to score goals. They don't need to play well. They don't need to do anything. They're just generational.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Scott M really loves that energy. Scott M is all about that energy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about the vibes, man. He can do
the vibes with this guy. Immaculate.
You can sense it. You can get that feeling that he brings with him. Doesn't result in goals or wins.
But the feeling, Scott. The feeling.
That's right.
Philly says 3-1 Spurs. Philly's got stunned Kane and Perisic on the score sheet. I like it. Spreading out the goals. Perisic, I want to see it. Need the first one, buddy. Need him to get one. J. Cole says Sonny always does well against German teams. What's up?
I just wanted to come in real quick and say I am a little worried about how much we're playing Perisic. I don't know if the guy can handle the minutes that he's getting right now consistently. Like, he's going to need a break at some point. So, yeah, that's just something I'm a little concerned with. So,
you said Perisic?
Yeah. He's getting a lot of minutes, and at his age...
when he gets subbed off, he's been icing his calf.
And, and let's not forget, he will be in the World Cup, for sure.
Yeah,
so
he's the captain, isn't he?
Yeah. Is he the captain?
I'm pretty sure
he's not the
captain. Modric is the captain.
Yeah, Modric.
Yeah.
Modric.
Wasn't he the captain during the Euros? I thought he was. I could be wrong. No. Definitely could be wrong. David says terrible passing by Sonny. Mr. Scott, he's going to text Will so he can jump on. We won't be carrying on too much longer. I'm going to give you my score predictions and goal scorers real quick. You shook up the chat, though. Also, anyone else in the chat, if you have your score predictions, goal scores, get them in before this stream ends, and I will read them out aloud. And it'll be like show and tell. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. Mine goes like this. I think it's going to be like a 1-0, 1-1 type of game. I could see for sure if we run the 3-5-2 with Sonny and Kane up top, I could see us putting 2-1 because we're definitely going to concede. That's why I say 1-0 because I could see us like just doing nothing all game and then squeezing one at the last 10 minutes. But I'm probably going to rest around 2-1. I think we'll get the job done. Probably late, like always. In the second half, we'll probably go down 1-0 at halftime, and everyone's going to be like, oh, we suck. And then we'll somehow get 2 goals, and I think it'll be because of Son and Kane. Sonny likes playing well against German teams, as J. Co said. He also says all German squad play high line. Sonny will score 2 goals. I hope so. My goal scorers are Son and Kane if we do get 2 goals, and if we do not, then I'm going to say Kane gets the lone goal and the 1-1 draw. I can definitely see it being a 1-1 draw.
One thing I don't want to see is 0-0 at halftime. If it's 0-0 at halftime, we're in trouble.
Yeah, because we're just going to sit there and accept the pressure and just ride that out and take the point. And it's annoying as hell. Here we go. We got one more. C. Shearman, Dachi Kamada, 1, Spurs 2 with a Bazuma Golazo. I'm going to be wearing my kit. It's my Champions League kit. I'm going to be wearing that hoe tomorrow. Come on, Big Dig Basuma. Come on, Big Dig Basuma. Show us what you're made of, man. I know he's got it. It just needs more time. But big ups. The last thing we're going to touch on before we end this beautiful stream with these beautiful people. There was a great question from a Patreon member himself, J. Co. Real quick before I read this question, you can go ahead and become a Patreon member too. Click on that link. Got it pinned. You can become a member. Even though we don't have 1,000 subs, we don't fuck around with that. We got Patreon. Fuck them. He says, question for all the panel besides your own country. Which country are you cheering for in this World Cup? I'll go first. Obviously, I'm cheering for South Korea because of Heung Daddy. But I'm also cheering for Mexico because my suegra. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that my suegra is from Mexico. My mom is from Mexico. I got a lot of ties to Mexico, so I'm also rooting them on. Sorry, Scott, not rooting for Canada, but I'm rooting for obviously USA. But outside of USA, I'm rooting for Mexico and South Korea. That's mine. Goguma, I know you are. It's getting late. That's why I'm trying to end the stream. Cubes. I was looking at Goguma's comment and I just read Goguma. Cubes, you were gonna answer this earlier, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, well, USMNT, of course, I will support the USA. I am born and raised in the USA, and so I will support my peoples. And then after that, then South Korea probably, partially because of Sunny and partially because they're kind of an underdog, and I like rooting for the underdog. So there's plenty of underdogs in the World Cup, right? But I mean, like an underdog that has a leg to stand on. Do you know what I mean? So, so I'll be rooting for them to get as far as they can. Like it'll already be an accomplishment if they can get out of the group stage, I think. So I think that Sunny will be pretty happy with that. So I'll be rooting for them to get out of the group stage. And then for the win, because I do think the final will probably be Brazil versus Argentina, I will be rooting for Argentina because I want to see our boy Romero get that World Cup.
I can't hear you, Jacob.
Jacob, I think
My shit was muted. I said,
okay,
I was saying I said the greatest line of the entire podcast, and I cannot repeat it. Unfortunately, I was muted when I said it. But Kieran, I'm coming to you. Do you got anyone outside of the U.S. men's national team? If you are rooting for him, you better be rooting for him.
Come on, Jacob. You know I'm an American soccer guy.
Let's
I'm
go.
I'm an MLS guy. I'm a USMNT guy.
That's right. That's my fault for doubting.
I prefer watching the U.S. women's national team to the men's.
Oh,
so
well, we're better.
I'm a huge supporter of the women's team. They're awesome.
Very successful as well.
Yeah.
Best team in the world.
But yeah, outside the USMNT, it's going to be, for me, Denmark. They're the team I'll be supporting outside the U.S., and they're a dark horse for me in this tournament. I think they could go really far. Don't be surprised if they pop up in the semifinal. So,
Goguma says Argentina and Denmark, USA as well. C. Sherman says Denmark. So we got a couple Denmarks that came in as well. But interesting choice. Denmark, hey, Højbjerg, Eriksson, who knows? Maybe. Canada. Who you got other than Canada, my friend Scott M?
All right. Now that Canada is a soccer power, I finally get to support somebody at the World Cup. It's nice to support someone that's should be one of the favorites. I don't know if we'll win it, but certainly probably Final Four at least. But honestly, for the team that I would support, it's probably still Belgium. I think that they've missed their chance. I think they're a little bit too old now, but I do always have a soft spot for them with Toby and Jan there. So I'll support them, even though they are in our same group. But I think we can finish first; they can finish second. We're going to go on the opposite side of the bracket and meet in the final.
Yeah,
you laugh, but that Belgian team is so old and so
not as good as they used to be. Yeah,
they don't have a deep squad. They're so thin. Like, I could see you doing it.
Yeah, but they got KDB.
Yeah, but if he's passing to Grandpa Joe, I mean.
Yeah, I know. I saw them play, and they were definitely. It was challenging for them. That squad is definitely aging, but they have some. They have KDB and they have Lukaku and they have, I mean, I don't know if I could, root for them because of Toby and Jan and Super Jan, but I was like, man, they're not really an underdog given the fact that.
Outside of that, I mean,
like they should, as stacked as they are,
Outside of them, I'll give a shout out to all our English folks. They're in an easy group stage, so they don't really have any challenge in their group. So they I don't think they'll do anything, but at least they get two basically warm-up matches, right? 2 or 3 warm-up matches in their group, kind of like no threat at all. So they'll get out of there, and then they'll probably mess it up after that.
Well, here's the fun part. They're not making it out of the group stage, England, because they've got the U.S. men's national team and Gareth Bale Wales. So they're not making it out. But good shout there, Scott. C. Sherman says, my brain's telling me U.S. and men national team get bounced in the group stage. He's going to bet a mullet wig and a basket of fried Oreos. I'll take you on that bet, my friend. We're going to win the group. Winning the group. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean,
Dave Hotspur has the right mindset. What was that, Scott? No? Okay. Dave. Oh, that was Kieran. What'd you say, Kieran?
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say we've beaten Wales before, so
yeah,
and
it's not uncommon.
Iran isn't that great of a team, and you know we might not win the group, but we're gonna get out of it for sure, in my opinion.
I agree with you, and also I agree with Dave Hotspur. Says, I hope every team that has a Spurs player in it gets knocked out in the first round. Let's go. David also says that was mean of Nike not to give Canada a new kit. Only team in the World Cup without a new kit. Yikes. Philly, my brethren in America. God bless America and no one else. That's right, brother. We're winning the whole thing. Let's get it. C. Sherman says we're not beating Iran. I haven't actually even mentioned much of Iran. Honestly, full bull in the house. What's cracking? Yes, Mike. How you doing? I love you, buddy. You're a bastard, and you know it, but I love you for it because.
Kits, did you guys notice? I mean, that South Korea kit it's fire. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, that's a good-looking kit.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, there's a bunch of really good kits. Unfortunately, this men's national team, much like Spurs, have Nike as a sponsor, and they just decided to make poo-poo. So we're gonna look like shit in the World Cup. Honestly,
why do our kits suck so much? As in Spurs, like. I don't know. I feel like
they hate
Adidas,
us, man. They hate us.
The Adidas kits look so much better. I feel like.
Yeah, Adidas does a way better job. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate that. We're ending this thing. Kieran, I know you said you got to bounce. Big up yourself, Spurs after dark. He's got to go. Had something come up. But Cubes, thank you so much for joining and popping up tonight. Scott M, thank you for popping up with us tonight. It's been a fun one. It's not as long as the usual, but that's okay. We're getting ready for a game. But big ups, everyone. I really appreciate the support, the channel, the names at the bottom of the screen that have been going on this whole entire stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. Starting from the top with the Soggy Undies Club, we got Alan 10-inch Sibley, and the newest Patreon member. He joined the Soggy Undies Club. It's Reyes Jr. Big up yourself. 10-inch Club Faraz, Goguma, Queen Ellie, with Tottenham Till I Die, and C. Shearman. He's been in the house as well tonight. Big up yourself, C. Shearman. Official supporters consist of Scott M. He's right here. We got Jayco and David. They were also in the house tonight. Big up yourselves, all three of y'all. And in the lovers lane, last but certainly not least, we got Bobby K and C Cube. She's here as well. So big up yourself, every single one of you. Even if you're not on that list, even if you just tune in, hit that like, or even if you don't hit that like, if you fucking hate me, that's cool, because I got something for you. It's thumbs up. And you can drop one too down below. So get to it, subscribe, hit that like. Let's get to 500 subs before the year is over. Not talking about the season, I'm talking about the year. We got a couple months to do it, so I appreciate all your help getting that done. Can't wait for the next things. We got a lot of things coming to the channel, so keep it tuned here. Hit that bell. Get the future notifications next time that I go live with the Pop-Up with Jacob. We might just do it tomorrow night. We might just do it Wednesday night. We don't know. That's the fun part. Pop-Up with Jacob is just random. It can happen at any moment. So tell your mother, tell your brother. They would enjoy this show. Big up yourself, Cubes. Big up yourself, Scott. Kieran, thank you for popping up tonight with Jacob. Do y'all have anything to say before I sign this thing out?
Scott M loves Richie.
Scott M loves Richie. Big up yourself, Richie. Big up yourself, Scott M. And come on, you Spurs. Quiz.
Pro.